NFL and Crumpets, where two stupid Englishmen dissect the latest goings-on in the NFL. I'm Philip, and this is Charles.
You right, Philip?
And today, we're doing our third instalment in our pre-season predictions show. Today, we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers, who had a fantastic season last time out, and looked like they could even go to the Super Bowl at one point. It came right down to the wire last season, didn't it, Charles?
Yes, certainly, and I think last year was a real kind of a breakout year for the San Francisco 49ers. You know, it was the end of the era for Mike Singletary, and we really saw the organisation move on. I remember a couple of years back seeing them in the NFL International Series in London against the Denver Broncos, and it was really kind of who's not going to be the worst team in the NFL. You know, it wasn't a great game, but it was very competitive, obviously, because they were of a similar ability. San Francisco 49ers came out on top on that one, and so they've pushed on from there, really. Obviously, firing Mike Singletary, I think that was probably quite a good move looking back for everyone at the San Francisco 49ers organisation. And it's interesting now that we see the Indianapolis Colts and the Minnesota Vikings, who are now struggling, whereas at the time of that game they were both dominant and going along very nicely. So it's interesting that now the Broncos and the 49ers are battling with the top of the league.
Well, we've also seen as well, you know, they seem to just be a very fast-developing team. I don't know, you know, where they've got all this money from, but, you know, they've made a lot of changes this season. There's been some big changes. They've signed Marion Manningham. They've done a few other changes, which you know of. They've done, you know, their draft picks seem to be quite offensive. They've signed a wide receiver, AJ. What's the second name?
AJ Jenkins, and of course also the signing of Brandon Jacobs and Randy Moss. You know, they're very bold statements. Obviously, Randy Moss, very successful with the Patriots. He went to Super Bowl in 2007 with them when they lost to the New York Giants, but that's another matter. But obviously, he was part of a very successful team. Maybe not when it came to Super Bowls, but, you know, many people in New England were sad to see at the back of him. You know, he struggled with the Minnesota Vikings, but maybe we'll see him settle here at San Francisco, and it'll be interesting to see the relationship he develops with Alex Smith.
Well, we also saw, you know, a lot of, you know, a big debate going on as to, you know, Alex Smith in the NFC Championship game, was it? I think it was the Championship game, where he lost it for them, really. And, you know, a lot of, you know, fans were, you know, sympathetic with Alex. A lot of them were, you know, a bit more angry.
Well, this is an interesting story because, obviously, Alex Smith, before the 2011 season, was originally cut by the Niners. You know, many felt he was old and past it. And so Mike Singletary took that decision. But once Mike Singletary was fired, we saw Jim Harbaugh come into the organisation. Or was it John? I don't know. One of the Harbaugh brothers. We'll go with that anyway. Sorry, I'm not good with names. I think you're probably gathering now if you're a devoted listener. But we saw him come in, and he took the decision to bring back Alex Smith, and many of the Niners fans were not initially happy with it. They didn't think that Alex Smith had it in him. Obviously, he's old, so he does have experience that he could bring to the team. But he came in and did a fantastic job last year. He didn't quite get it done in the NFC Championship game or throughout the playoffs, for that matter. But, you know, he put in some really good performances. I remember against the Steelers in, I think it was week 15, I think it was. That was a great performance. I remember watching that on Monday Night Football, along with Alden Smith. I think those two were the men of the game. So, yeah, I think Alex Smith's an interesting one. Much debated quarterback. But I think he proved a lot of people wrong last year. But, you know, it's whether he should still be there, whether she should have brought someone else in, maybe looking to trade a pick, for example, with the St. Louis Rams in the draft. But, you know, he's still there, and I think he'll do a good job next year as well. I don't think he's going to win the Super Bowl with them, but I think he's definitely going to continue improving with them, and you never know, maybe he'll prove me wrong next year. I'd be excited to watch that. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting one to watch during the new season.
Well, as well, you know, Vernon Davis, very rated player, had a great season last time out. I remember the game before the NFC Championship game where he made that, you know, last-minute incredible, you know, catch to win the game in the end zone. Can you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. And Vernon Davis is also an interesting one. He came from the, along with Frank Gore, came from the Mike Singletary era. You know, often struggled. I remember that game where he got taken out the game by Mike Singletary because apparently, I remember the post-match interview saying that Mike Singletary saying that he didn't have any time for him. You know, he didn't have a good attitude. So many were calling for his head as well. But I think him and Alex Smith have come out and really proven themselves. Obviously, Frank Gore he's always been playing well, just not really had the support, the players around him. But you know, now he's got a bit more support. Obviously, he's got new backup in the form of Brandon Jacobs, obviously coming in from the Giants. And so I definitely think, you know, these are all veterans. They've been at San Francisco a while, and they're now they've put in a lot of hard work, and are now starting to reap the reward with some of the new, fresh and better players coming into San Francisco as they kind of reinvigorate the team, reinvent themselves as one of the NFL's hot contenders.
And then, you know, let's talk about the draft as well, because is it A.J. Jenkins was their first round pick?
Yeah, and this is an interesting one because many people feel that their offense is, you know, a lot stronger than their defense. Obviously, in the offense, they have Alex Smith at quarterback, Brandon Jacobs and Frank Gore as their running backs, which, you know, many teams would envy. They've got, in terms of wide receivers, they've got Mario Manningham, Randy Moss. That would sound better, wouldn't it? Randy Ross, but unfortunately, no, it's Randy Moss. And Vernon Davis at Michael Crabtree and Vernon Davis at tight end. And so, obviously, they've got a very strong offense. And in terms of defense, you know, when you think of the Niners defense, you're always going to think of the two defensive ends, the two Smiths, Justin and Olden, young and old. Obviously, Justin also came through the Mike Singletary era. He's a San Francisco veteran. You know, I believe he was a fan of the club when he was during childhood, and he has he had his best year last year. He put in some amazing numbers, and he was much feared throughout the NFL. Obviously, Alden Smith in his rookie year came in and absolutely dominated quarterbacks, you know, putting in, I think it was record sack numbers. You know, they both didn't allow the Niners to get run on. They had one of the best run defenses, and so the two Smiths have really gained some good chemistry, and they really helped the San Francisco defense last year. So, you know, many would think though that their offense is a lot stronger than their defense, meaning they would go for some defensive choices as their first round picks. But no, they first round went for a wide receiver in the form of A.J. Jenkins, who does look an exciting player coming out of Illinois. And Michael James, who's the running back coming out of Oregon, who many also are excited about. So it was two very interesting choices. But if we look a bit, you know, further into the draft, then obviously Darius Fleming, who I believe was their fourth pick, outside linebacker coming out of Notre Dame, Trenton Robinson, who's safety coming out of Michigan State, the center of the defensive end Cam Johnson coming out of Virginia. So maybe towards the back end of the draft they did turn to a more defensive state of mind. But early on we saw them definitely try and bolster their offense, even if it does need bolstering. And obviously, you know, Alex Smith isn't going to be there forever. He is getting old, maybe a little bit past his sell-by date if you speak to some, as I mentioned before. So I was surprised maybe not they didn't get in a new and exciting quarterback. Maybe, as I said before, trading their pick with the St. Louis Rams to maybe try and get in RG3, but we didn't see that happen. Obviously, he went to the Washington Redskins. So yeah, there was some surprised people in San Francisco, but not necessarily unhappy people in San Francisco.
Yeah, and you know, moving on, we'll now talk about the fixture list for them this season. Interesting. And we will say win, loss or draw depending on, you know, what we think will happen. So, first game, who are they playing?
In their first game, they are playing the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, which is obviously not the kind of game you want to go into. Confident, exactly, tough place to go. You know, confidence building, first game of the season, maybe not going to happen there at Lambeau Field. So you have to go with the Green Bay Packers win there. But I do think the Niners will put up a fight, and you never know. We've seen stranger things happen. So I'm going for a Green Bay Packers win, but I'd hope to be proven wrong on that one. So I'm going for.
Of course, you know, we're going to go, you know, due to the Packers, you know, reputation, you know, seen probably by, most as a better team than the 49ers, but I wouldn't be surprised if, they could pull one out of the bag. It wouldn't surprise me, but I'll have to go, the probability is a Packers win.
So that is, I think we're both going 0-1 for the first game. San Francisco 49ers versus the Detroit Lions at Candlestick Park. So the Niners' schedule not getting any easier. This is going to be an incredibly interesting game. I hope to be able to watch this one. I'm incredibly looking forward to this one. This looks like it's going to be an absolute cracker. I'm going to go with the Niners. They're at home. They're looking good. Hopefully, after beating a good win at Green Bay, probably not, but you never know. But I'm going to go with a Niners win. Obviously, the Lions and Matt Stafford and Kelvin Johnson will want to prove me wrong, but I'm seeing a Niners win on this one.
We could see some Megatron catches, some Megatron touchdowns, but, we'll have to see. But again, I agree with you. I think it will be quite narrow, but I think 49ers will pull through.
So that we're both going for a 1-1 record after 2 games. Then they play the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Minnesota Vikings without a real franchise quarterback. Obviously, with Adrian Peterson, who can always pose a threat. Obviously, he got that bad injury to the knee last year, but I can't see anything but a San Francisco 49ers win on this one. So I'm
AP can run it up the middle. He's fairly versatile running back, but without a franchise quarterback, you're in no man's land, aren't you? Really, and it's a shame for the Vikings. I have a soft spot for them. I'd like to see them do well, but without a franchise quarterback, what can you do at the end of the day? And I've got to go for a Niners win.
Yeah, I know, but it will be interesting to see how the San Francisco offensive line, which performed well last year, but there's always been a few question marks about it, see how they perform against Jared Allen. So, yeah, moving on. They are at the New York Jets, taking on Mark Sanchez, possibly Tim Tebow.
Possibly Tebow.
So, at the New Meadowlands Stadium, or as it's now known, the MetLife Stadium, but I'm going for a Niners win here.
Yeah, it's going to be, it's a tough game no matter which quarterback starts, but Sanchez or Tebow, Tebow on his day is unstoppable, isn't he? As was proven last season for the Broncos. But, most of the time, Alex Smith, he's a solid QB, he's got a lot of good men around him. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a Niners win as well, so we're 3-1.
Right, so we're both going for a 3-1 record after 4 games. Next they take on the Buffalo Bills at Candlestick Park. Obviously, the Bills, haven't really done anything in the off season. They didn't perform well last year, haven't performed well for a number of years. Their fan base, they don't have a large fan base. There's been moves with talk to Toronto and Canada. They're a bit all over the place, I think they're one of the most unsettled organisations in the NFL, and I think the Niners will just come in and teach them how it's done. So I'm going for a 4-1 record after 5 games. What about you, Philip?
I'd agree with that. They're settled in 100% by this point. The new signings, your Manninghams, your Mosses, they all have settled in now, getting into a rhythm, and with no real change going on at Buffalo, we can't see them performing any better than they did last season. Everyone around you is improving, and when you're not, you're only going to go backwards. So 100% a big Niners win on that one. We're both 4-1 now. Okay,
and next, this is an interesting game. We see the Niners take on the 2011 Super Bowl champions, the New York Giants at Candlestick Park. But you know what? I'm going to go against the odds, and I'm going for a Niners win here. I think New York, we see them, they do stuff that they wouldn't necessarily do in the regular season, in the postseason. Obviously, when they face the New England Patriots, they have a record of beating them. That's now 2 Super Bowls in 2007, 2011. That rhymes, that's cool. But yeah, so I'm going with the Niners win. I think that the Niners offense may have a bit too much for the Giants defense. The Giants defense really isn't what it used to be. Obviously, used to have the likes of Michael Strahan in their ranks, but obviously he retired. And I'm confident that the Niners can do the job there. I think Eli might score a few points, but obviously the Niners now have Brandon Jacobs and Manningham, considerably weakening the Giants' offense. And I just think that the Niners they'll do the job, and I think they're going to get this done. And so I'm saying after 6 games, their record will be taken to 5-1.
Well, it's going to be, a hard one, but, a Super Bowl win can shape the team, and certainly, you know, the New York Giants, they had a bit of a disappointing sort of, main season last year. You know, were they 9-7, I believe, and you know that's not the best season for a team like the Giants. You know, a lot of expectation heaped on them, and you know they didn't perform that well. But the postseason, that can shape a team. If you win a Super Bowl, you're going to come into the next season thinking, I can win this Super Bowl. You know, I can trounce anyone. We're Super Bowl champions. And, you know, that will give confidence. So I'm going to go with the Giants win on that one.
So I'm now going for 5-1. You're going for 4-2 record at this point in the season. Next, we see the Niners take on the Seattle Seahawks at Candlestick Park. I'm going for Niners.
Bit of a rivalry there, isn't there? Bit of a rivalry.
Yeah, a bit of West Coast hustle on that one. But yeah, I'm definitely going for a Niners win on this one. Seattle Seahawks, you know, not really got much of a quarterback. You know, their offense looking a bit, you know, might have Marshawn Lynch, but I don't really think they're going to do too much damage to the Niners defense. Obviously, the two Smiths will have something to say about Marshawn Lynch in the Seattle running game, and I'm going for a comfortable Niners win on this one.
Well, yeah, I'd agree with that. You know, at the end of the day, you know, they have a bit of a rivalry with the Seahawks. They're both in the NFC West. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there's going to be a bit of rivalry there, but I don't think the Seahawks are going to be able to pull it out at all, to be honest. So I'm going to go with a 49ers win, and you're 6-1, I'm 5-2 next game.
Arizona Cardinals at the University of Phoenix Stadium. I think this is going to be an interesting one. You know, we see many teams go to the University of Phoenix Stadium expecting a comfortable victory, and then they get surprised by the likes of Larry Fitzgerald. You know, I don't think the Niners have a particularly established secondary. You know, it's not bad, but it's not great. And I think, you know, they could get passed on. Obviously, if Arizona can sort out for the start of the season a decent quarterback. But I think this, to be honest, I don't feel I can make a good decision now, because I need to assess the Arizona quarterback come the start of the season. Obviously, we're not sure who that's going to be yet, but at this point, I would say, obviously, the Arizona Cardinals do not have an established franchise quarterback, and no one to find out Fitzgerald, and you know, there's no point having a weapon if you can't use it. So I'm going with a Niners victory on this one, taking their record to 7-1.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. You know, a fairly big Niners win on that one too. So we are now 6-2 and 7-1 respectively. Next game.
Their next game sees them take on the St. Louis Rams at Candlestick Park.
Ooh.
And obviously, you being a Rams fan, I'd like to hear your opinion first.
Well, you know, it's going to be a hard one because the Rams have come on a lot as well, you know, during this, during the off-season. You know, as you can check out on our Rams video, the first one we uploaded of pre-season predictions. It's a long one, 24 minutes, I think, but go and watch that. And I think, you know, being a Rams fan, you know, I'm going to be a bit biased, but I've got to be realistic as well. So just about, I think the 49ers will beat that one out, and it will go to 7-2.
Yep, I agree with you there. I'm going for a Niners win, and that should take it to 8-1. Obviously, the Rams, you know, Sam Bradford, Steven Jackson, now the addition of Brian Dockers, but I just don't see past Niners victory on this one. I think what the Rams do well is they have good experience, the mix of experience and youth blended into their ranks, but so do the 49ers, and they have more strength and depth. They have an abundance of talent, and I think they'll just overpower the St. Louis Rams, and I think this is going to be a Niners victory, taking my tally to 8-1, and you're at 7-2 after 9 games of the regular season. And now we see the Niners take on the Chicago Bears at Candlestick Park. This is an interesting one. Obviously, the Chicago Bears with a good defense. You know, things like of Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs, but I'm not sure on this one. I think the Niners may have a bit too much offensive power in their ranks for the Chicago Bears. I'm not sure how effective their defense will be. Obviously, with Brandon Jacobs and Frank Gore as their running backs, the Chicago Bears save a lot of points and yards by stopping the run, but obviously that will be challenged by the likes of, as I said before, Frank Gore and Brandon Jacobs, and obviously the two Smiths will have something to say to Carl Orton and the not Carl Orton, Jay Cutler and the Chicago Bears offense. So I'm going to go with a Niners victory, but as we've seen before, you know, this. I'm sitting on the fence here because I do think the Bears do look good going to new season. But, you know, obviously ESPN Monday Night Football, so, you know, often they're the greatest games on Monday nights. But, you know, I'm going for a Niners win here. I don't see past... Yeah, I'm going for a Niners win. I mean, I'm not too sure, but I'm going for Niners win, taking my tally to 9-1.
I agree with you on that one, but it is going to be close. You know, I won't be surprised if it comes down to the wire and, you know, it's a Vernon Davis style, you know, in the end zone last minute sort of jobbing. You know, that wouldn't surprise me. But, you know, we'll have to see what happens. But I'm also going to go for a 49ers win, taking my tally to 8-2 and yours to 9-1. So next fixture.
Now, I think this is the first time I'm going to bet against the Niners. Well, no, second time. But, you know, I think there's good reason to here. They are taking on the New Orleans Saints at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, formerly the Louisiana Superdome. And I think that maybe Drew Brees and Jonathan Vilma might see the 49ers get unstuck in a hostile New Orleans, Louisiana environment. And so I'm going to take my tally to 9-2. What about you, Philip?
Well, you know, it's close, isn't it? And that one, yeah, that one's a hard to call game, but, you know, I reckon the Saints will just about eke it out. You know, they've got a great quarterback in Breeze. You know, he's got some good men around him, and I would say, you know, Breeze is undoubtedly, really, in my opinion, a better quarterback than Smith.
But obviously, you do have to consider, you know, obviously the hefty fines imposed on the New Orleans Saints for the bounties that were placed on players by the New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator Greg Williams last year, and so obviously we've seen him, and I forgot about Jonathan Wilmer being banned, which to me just tips the balance. You know, we hear of some unsettled men in New Orleans preseason camps, and so you know what, maybe I'll go with the Niners victory. I think I'm going to change my decision, taking it to 10-1 for me.
That's true, actually. You make that point, actually, and yeah, you know, it can shake up a lineup. And, you know, Breeze may not perform to his full ability, but that is halfway through the season. You know, things probably have, you know, all ironed out by then. So I am still going to go for a Saints victory on that one, and that takes my tally to 8-3. Next match.
St. Louis Rams away at the Edward Jones Dome. I'm going for Niners victory. As I said before, I just don't think St. Louis will have enough to really threaten the San Francisco defense. Obviously, San Francisco offense will make the Rams defense pay for any mistakes they make. The Rams secondary not being the best. Obviously, I think Alex Smith will have a field day down in St. Louis. I'm going for a 49ers victory, taking the tally to 11-1.
It's always tough going away. It's always tough going away. You know, it's easier to play at Candlestick than it is to go, you know, to the Edward Jones. But again, you know, I just don't see the Rams being able to beat the 49ers. You know, last season, you know, Rams were the second worst team, and certainly, you know, they've got that together. I'm really happy with what they've done over the off-season, you know, as a Rams fan. You know, I am happy with what they've done, you know. Brian Quick's a big signing at wide receiver, and, you know, they've done some other things, you know, Brockers to try and strengthen up the defense, and, you know, I think it's interesting with what they've done. But again, I'm sorry, but 49ers are just going to eat that one, so that takes my tally to 9-3.
Okay, and now we see the San Francisco 49ers take on the Miami has Dolphins, the greatest football team. We'll save that for our Miami Dolphins edition. So that's one to look forward to. There will be singing, there will be dancing, and there will be a lot of fun for that one. Obviously, we'll discuss Chad Archer singing here, but that's for another day. That's for a rainy day, but yeah, which is probably every day here in Britain, where it rains all the time. But few folks across the pond probably can't imagine that, unless you're living in Tampa right now. Have you heard about the Tropical Storm Debbie? And we do feel for you if you're listening from Tampa. Obviously, I've been to lots of Buccaneers games. You know, I'm down with the crew in Tampa, and so I'm feeling for you out there. So yeah, just hope you get.
Just get through it.
Yep, everything's not too bad from us here at NFL and Crumpets, but across the pond. But yeah, I'm definitely going with a Niners victory. I think Miami Dolphins, obviously, Chad Ochocinco, you never know what's going to happen. Will he get 1,000 yards in that game? Will he break records? Will he beat the San Francisco 49ers single-handedly? No, I'm going with the Niners victory here. And that's going to take my title to 12 to 1.
Sure, it's a big signing, after his massive money deal with the Pats last season. Certainly, that was a big thing. Then they released him last month, and, it all went, spirally downhill. But, he's been signed with the Dolphins on a 1-year contract. It is interesting, but I just don't see them being able to, beat the 49ers. So, 49ers win as well, which takes my tally to 10 to 3. Last 3 games, we're going to speed it up a bit. Last 3 games, go, go, go.
Right, okay, New England Patriots, away. I'm going with a No, I'm not. I'm going with the New England win. Obviously, them being the AFC champions, Tom Brady looking good. I think they're going to really challenge this San Francisco defense, and so I'm going for a New England win, and that's going to take my tally to 12 to 2.
Well, I am, again, same as you, at the end of the day, they are just a great team, aren't they? England
well, they are the team that...
So that takes my tally to 10 to 4, I believe. 2 matches to go.
Can we just make clear to the listener at this point that here at NFL and Crumpets, we do hate the New England Patriots. You might pick up on that.
We
So
do.
sorry, Patriots fans, which is probably half of America, but, we are big New England Patriots haters, as you will probably find out throughout the course of the year. Anyway, moving on. Seattle Seahawks at the CenturyLink Field, which is formerly Quest Field, as you guys across the pond probably know. This is just for the benefit of my co-host, Philip, because he's not down with all the stadium changes of names, which I have to say, I think there's 3. So, a bit disappointing. But anyway, moving on. I'm going for, again, a Niners victory. I just don't see the Seahawks beating them. And so, that's another Niners victory in the bag for me, taking my tally to 13 and 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you just heard some interference there. But, I agree with you. Niners victory all the way for that one.
Okay,
Which takes my tally to 11 to 4.
The last game of the season, San Francisco 49ers against the Arizona Cardinals at Candlestick. And I think that the San Francisco 49ers candles will be lit. I think in this game, this will see them win the NFC West. And I think this will see them through to a first round bye in the playoffs. And I think that it's going to be a great night for everyone in San Francisco, celebrating a Niners victory against the Arizona Cardinals, taking their overall record for the season to 14 and 2.
I think that was locked in the season. If they are, as we say, as good as they are, that we say, all the fans are going to be chanting at Candlestick. Last home game of the regular season. They're all going to be chanting. They're all going to be happy, and that's just going to spur Smith and his lads on. And at the end of the day, it's got to be a 49ers victory, which takes my personal total to 12 to 4 and yours to 14 to 2.
And I'd like to take this opportunity now just to explain to the listeners about our arrangements throughout the season. We have now finalised the arrangements. Basically, what's going to happen is, obviously, we're going to carry on with our pre-season predictions, and until the start of pre-season, we're going to get all 32 NFL teams done up on YouTube, and hopefully eventually iTunes for you guys to listen to. And then from the start of pre-season till the end of the season, obviously concluding with a Super Bowl special, which will be hopefully live, but that's for another day. But obviously that's next year, so that's quite a way away. We will aim to bring you a weekly show, which will talk about all the games in the NFL from that week. We'll talk about any big stories, any big upsets, basically all the goings on from the NFL, and that should last from anywhere between half an hour to an hour and a half. So that's basically the arrangements for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and also a couple of ideas, we may implement, we don't know. He's also doing a game of the week concept where we're going more in depth about a specific game from that week.
And also we may trial out a live commentary, preferably I think would be the 6 o'clock games. Obviously we're here in England, 5 hours time difference, so it's quite late by that time. So the 1 o'clock Eastern time game starting across the pond, we will start our commentaries around 5:30, where we will commentate on the game. We will do maybe half an hour before and after the game, and that's something we aim to do, which you guys will be able to listen. But obviously there's lots of technical specifications which come with doing a live show, so that may not be possible, but we may have to just upload that. But yeah, so basically, we hope that you're enjoying these, and we hope that you'll continue to listen throughout the entirety of this National Football League season. I'm Charles, and this is Philip. And yeah, thanks for that, Philip. And basically, so yeah, we're going to be here for the rest of the season, and we hope that you will contact us at nflandcrumpets@gmail.com. We aim to have a Twitter page up and running, which we will let you know about on our on the next episodes of our pre-season predictions.
Email us, and we will answer your things on the next show. And also, please like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot. You know, we appreciate it. You know, so please do it. It means, you know, a lot to us, really.
And also, if we aim to get a website up and running, we've already set it. We already have an old standing website which we're going to try and reinvent. But you know, check it out. It's nflfanaticsuk.webs.com. We'll put all. If we do manage to compile these in the style of a podcast, we will aim to put them all up on there, including our pre-season predictions and our weekly updates throughout the season. But yeah, so that's basically us for the rest of the year, and we hope you'll continue to enjoy and listen to our editions of NFL and Crumpets. So from here in England to you in America, we will say good night on this sunny, yes, I did say sunny, English evening. So that is it from all of us here at NFL Crumpets, and we will be back rather soon with some more pre-season predictions for 2012.